As the year comes to a close, I've been reflecting on some of the media I've consumed. There's been a certain theme that kept catching my eye. I exist. Let me start at the beginning. Actually, about halfway through the year when, after not really reading anything of my own accord throughout university, I graduated and picked up Herman Melville's Moby Dick. Going in, I knew it was going to be a grand adventure. It is a great American novel, after all. But what captivated me most was not the exploration of the sea or the whaling, but the exploration of identity. The opening sentence is a declaration, "Call me Ishmael." It's a simple and ambiguous introduction to this man. I find it more striking than, say, "My name is Ishmael," or just, "I'm Ishmael." The narrator is actively participating in his identity and existence on the page. He commands to be recognized. "Call me Ishmael. I exist here within this story." Across the tale, a captivation with the sea washes over Ishmael, entangling his existence with the ocean. Those aboard the Pequod melt into a collective among themselves and their environment. Ishmael says of himself and his fellow sailors that, in riding the cadence of the waves, he loses his identity, takes the mystic ocean at his feet for the visible image of that deep, blue, bottomless soul. There's a permanence of existence that surpasses any loss of identity. In the circumstances of being on a whaling ship, I imagine you have to give in and become a cog in the wheel, a part of the crew. You have to give in to the rhythm of the ocean you're surrounded by. But even as he sinks into his post and sees himself in the sea, I remember, "Call me Ishmael." He still has a name. And in the end, when, spoilers, the crew and captain all perish at the fins of Moby Dick, one did survive the wreck. Call me Ishmael. I'm still here. I survived. I exist. The next book I read was A Wrinkle in Time, a fantastical adventure where Madeleine L'Engle writes, "There's very little difference in the size of the tiniest microbe and the greatest galaxy." I'd also say I'm larger than the tiniest microbe, so there may also be only a small difference between myself and the greatest galaxy. Walt Whitman said, "I am large, I contain multitudes." So maybe all three, the microbe, the galaxy, and myself, contain multitudes. Could that be the size of existence? There's a lot out there in the world, and there's a lot in me. Maybe I'm not as small as I sometimes feel. Then came the author whose writing was most apparent to this theme, René Descartes. He's a French philosopher probably best known for "I think, therefore I am," which comes about in his discourse on the method. I read this along with Meditations, in which Descartes tries to doubt everything he thought he knew, from the existence to God to the geometry of triangles, in order to find what he considered certain knowledge. And he concluded that the only thing he couldn't doubt was that he was thinking. Then, examining attentively what I was, and seeing that I could pretend that I had no body, and that there was no world or place that I was in, but that I could not, for all that, pretend that I did not exist, and that, on the contrary, from the very fact that I thought of doubting the truth of other things, it followed very evidently and very certainly that I existed. That's a really fun sentence, and there it is in the end. To him it was certain that he existed. Sometimes I forget. I've been working a full-time job for 6 months now. Not that long, I know, but in that time there have been weeks where I forgot I existed. I didn't feel like a human. I forgot to write and play music and make something with my hands that I'm proud of. I let autopilot take over. It's becoming emotionally robotic so that I can wake up the next day and get on with whatever it is that needs to get done. Then I read Dostoevsky's The Brothers Karamazov. I got it on my Kindle, so I didn't realize it was 1,056 pages long, and about 3/4 of the way through, Dmitri, the oldest brother, is accused of killing his father and is now in prison. He's visited by Alexei, the youngest brother. In his cell, Dmitri says, "I seem to have such strength in me now that I think I could stand anything, any suffering, only to be able to say and to repeat to myself every moment, 'I exist.' In thousands of agonies, I exist." Purposefully acknowledging I exist when part of a collective, when feeling small, when everything else is doubtful, and when existence itself is painful, that is a new strength. It takes me a new effort to feel alive, to remember that I exist and I can do something with that existence. In his cell, Dmitri says to Alexei, "I see the sun, and if I don't see the sun, I know it's there. And there's a whole life in that, in knowing that the sun is there." In 2024, one of my resolutions is to know that the sun is there. Thanks for watching this ramble, or short literary recap. It doesn't quite feel like a video essay, more of like a video diary entry, but I don't think I'll get any more comfortable making videos like this unless I just keep doing it, so here you go. Oh, also I'm resolving to read more books in this new year. I'm enjoying reading again. Happy New Year. Bye!